Hello, have you ever seen a spreadsheet like this with all these messy values which are supposed to be similar, and then it takes you ages and ages to try to kind of to clean them up so that you can actually filter and sort your spreadsheets? Well, no worries any longer, because today we're gonna look at data validation with dropdowns, your new best friend. Let's quickly walk through this. I'm Zhenya, ex-Guardian designer, PhD, and product manager, and I'm interested in systems that do not work. I used to waste so much time fixing client spreadsheets full of typos. Today we'll cover dropdowns and data validation, and I'll show how to set up a system that makes your sheets bulletproof. So we're going to cover three main things. First, and by far the most important one, is to change your mindset of how you think about this, yeah, and how to keep all your variables separate from your actual work on Google Spreadsheets. Second is to create a dedicated data tab for each spreadsheet and make this really a habit, so that you always have the data tab with all your variables in there somewhere. And third is to create a data validation rule based on the range of cells in your data tab. Without further ado, let's go to the point number one, yeah, change your mindset. And this is like super important. And I have to say that there are plenty of videos on YouTube who can teach you about data validation, and there are excellent people, there are excellent YouTube channels that teach you like all different things about Google Spreadsheets and data validation in particular. However, and not only YouTube, I see a lot of really nice content on TikTok as well, and other resources. However, the value of this video is that I'm not gonna teach you a lot about spreadsheets, but I'm gonna teach you about how to change your mind about building. So instead of looking at how to build things, because there's a lot of tutorials who can teach you how, like my main problem is that people struggle with this because they'll never be able to step back and think about why first, yeah, because that's kind of the most important, most logical thing, is to think about why we're doing this. And once you know why, then it will be really easy to find how, right? Because it's going to be really clear in your head. And that kind of takes us to the step number two: create a data tab. And here, let's delete this one and create a new. You go down below, you double click on it, you type data here, and you put it in the first place because that's the most important one. And essentially what it will do is, for example, you have priorities here, priorities, statuses, etc. And you put it here. So what this means now is that however many tabs you're going to have in your document, you always know that you can come back to this data tab and you will always see that the priorities is there. Well, actually, maybe priorities is, let me check, it's not something that's going to change a lot. So these things that you want to know about priorities and statuses, that it's the best use case to use them as a dropdowns, but also there's like project managers are really opinionated about those two things, yeah, because they always say priorities should always be this 5 values, and status is always gonna be this 7 values and nothing more. And priorities essentially, because this critical, high, medium, low, and extra low, which means critical means that it's a complete showstopper and none of the business processes can proceed. High means prioritize, medium means business as usual, low means deprioritize, next level means don't think about it. Yeah, and project managers would usually say we don't need any more than those 5 priorities, so this number never changes. And the same with statuses. You're quite often gonna see when you look on different productivity YouTube that people use a lot of different statuses with all different types of names depending on what kind of processes they have. But the argument here is that you always need to have this 7 and always use this 7 because these are the ultimate 7 parameters that the issue, like any task, is going to be in. Yeah, so it's going to be either open or in progress or blocked if something blocks it, if something stops you from doing it. Then it's going to be cancelled or closed. It's going to be testing before it's closed, so that somebody else, so one person puts it to testing, the other person puts it to close. So there's always needs to be 2 people who close the task, yeah. And then reopened means that somebody moved it from any of those tasks back to progress, yeah. It ends up being reopened. And usually it's a good idea to just have this 7 because then no matter how many different task trackers you have and everything like that, and you have to do migration or you need to do export import between different platforms or just move this spreadsheet to a different spreadsheet, it's just one headache less. You don't have to remember your statuses. You know that you always have this 7 everywhere, and then it's kind of removes that layer of complexity that you don't really need. And that's I think that's what I wanted to cover about the data tab. And before we proceed to step 3, I wanted to say that if you like this kind of content, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe to help spread the word through the YouTube algorithm, and so that more people see this. Yeah. And point number 3, the important one, is to create a data validation rule. Yeah. And that's basically the legwork. Yeah. So how you do it? For example, you have this list of tasks here, and you say, okay, now I'm going to add priorities to them. So you select the cells you want, the drop-downs to be, you go to data range, select data validation, add rule, drop down from a range, go to your famous data tab, select your statuses, can't remember what it was, data range, statuses, done. And here you have it. Yeah, so you're gonna have them all here, and the good thing is that they're never gonna change. Yeah, so you can share it with others and they don't have to type anything and create typos or create different values for things. You can just select from whatever you provide in the variables. And also, obviously, if you have some other type, for example, currencies, and this is a currency converter that I'm discussing in this video right there, and you go there and take a look at it because it's a good use case of how to use dropdowns, but also it's a good use case for everything basically, because it converts. You can add currencies there and just converts the currencies the way you need them. And there's also a template, there's explain a video, there's like everything about it, you can take a look. But essentially, if you want to have your currencies, let's go for the demo. So it converts them, and if you add, if you want to add a new drop down just for the currencies, go to validation, add rule, drop down from range, and then you go to your currencies. The good thing is that you can add more, yeah, and then they will appear. So to do that, you need to select more cells. So for example, C2 to C16 or even more. Then you click OK. The existing ones appear. You click done and you see them, obviously. Where is it? You see them. But then if you want to add more, you, for example, George and Larry, yeah? You add them here, and again, you will notice that it will also appear in the spreadsheet. And that's a good thing about the having the drop downs, that you can actually add things. I also saw in some tutorials that some people use so-called quote-unquote named ranges. And the way it works is that you have this formula that grabs the values, and then when you add things to it, they also appear here. However, I'm not sure. I can leave the formula here for you to play around with, but I'm not entirely convinced about this because essentially when you do that, I think in Google Excel, or sorry, in Excel spreadsheets, it actually makes a difference because you can name a range and then you can reference that range by a name. But in this scenario, in Google Sheets, I don't think it's realized in quite the same way. So it actually makes no difference whether you want to do the name range or you just want to like add more cells and then monitor more cells in your actual thing. Yeah, like we've created here, is that you have all the way to C16. Yeah, so you can add up to this cell and it's still gonna read it. So, and that's kind of the benefit of named range, but here it doesn't really make anything easier. So, oh, sorry, C16, yeah, so it's this one. So, like, I don't see the difference really. So that was step 3, create data validation rule. And that's pretty much all I want to say. Let's go quickly, let's go get a quick walkthrough. Yeah, so you have all your tasks. Where are the tasks? Here's your task. For example, you want to create a cleaner version of this. Yeah, so you have your tasks. I actually will have them. Do your tasks, your dates. You add your dates. And then you want to create these 2 columns for priorities and statuses here. So you select data validation, add rule, and now we're going to check priorities. We don't have the statuses. Let's copy the statuses, or imagine you just have them, or you can download, because I'm going to have the spreadsheet in the download section of my website. So you want this to be a drop down from a range. Yeah. You select all your statuses and they appear here. Yeah. So you check that they all appear, you go back and you have your statuses. And then the other column are going to be our priorities. So you add the rule again, you select drop down from range, you go to data, and you select your priorities, and then you say, okay, critical, high, medium, low, extra low. And they will be there with all your colors. And this is how you create this, yeah? And I'm not sure if there could be any good use case, but I wanted to demonstrate this to you, that there could be a problem. For example, if you need to rename things which are already used, that can create a problem, yeah, because if it's in progress, if you changed in progress to current or something like that, then it will break the rule, obviously, because it's already been used as in progress, and Google Sheet doesn't have really a good facility to accommodate this. So what you will need to do if you want to change the existing values is you need to go to find, Command F, in progress. You will need to find the values in this sheet, and then you have to change them to current. And that's kind of that's the way to address that. But I'm gonna try and figure out how to do it in a better way. Right here, this sheet current, yeah. So it replaces it, and it sees it as a correct option. So that's one good thing about it. So you can find all, replace all if you have a lot of instances. But obviously, don't do it with the statuses, because we want to be more consistent here, as we discussed. But there will be there could be other cases when you need to change your drop-down values, and that's one quick way of doing it. And let me check if that's yeah. So that's basically 3 things. Yeah. So most important one is to change your mindset to separate things. So you always have your variables separate from your actual work. Then the second thing is always keep the data tab with all your variables so that you don't have to think every time you go to a spreadsheet you haven't seen, for example, for a month, you don't remember, and you know that all your variables are going to be there. And the third thing is, yeah, to use the data ranges. And I think that's covers pretty much everything. Please leave the comment below if I missed anything, or if you have questions, if you want me to talk more about some aspects of it, hit like, subscribe, and go to the free download section to download the template for this. And I'll see you in the next one.